Izzy, aka the Zab Lab, and this is going to be a little fiberarts vlog. I want to make some bats today, so that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so I forgot to say earlier, but the reason I'm doing some fibre prep and making some bats is because I want to do another fibre drop at some point this summer. I'm not sure when it's going to happen. I also want to launch a website for myself because I'm currently selling on Ko-fi, but I wanted to make a website last year, but I didn't really have the time. But now I do, and I've got loads of like artwork from being at uni, so yeah, that's what I want to do. These pretty little cat boxes here is my fibre. I honestly have a lot to work with, so I'm just going to spread and make a whole mess around me because that's how we vibe. Botany lap waste from World of Wool. Bit sad, this bag that I bought from them most recently, it's all like greys and like neutral tones. There are some coloured bits in here, but that's just because I've like shoved end pieces in. Naturally dyed fibres and locks. That's all stuff left over from my uni project. So there's like some hand dyed silk, noil and silk, and a bit of merino wool that I dyed as well. And then just like all these bats that I made. And that's felt. Like loads of colours. Okay. Roving. Again, so many colours to play with. And then this box, locks and things like that. I've got lots of lovely, sparkly, nice fibres, silks, bamboo, eucalyptus crimp, love it. And then again, a bit more just like lap waste. Yeah, I've also got this hand-dyed trilobal nylon from Raya. Fancy cat meow for those who don't know, that I really want to use in some like unicorny bats, which I think would be super cute. Yeah, I've never actually used this, so I'm really excited to play with this. I've also got like all these bags of like pre-selected fibres that I just need to blend up into bats. So this is what I normally do when I make bats. I use the scales and I like start pulling together fibres, I weigh them and then like add all the like nice sparkly add-in bits just so I know how much of each I've got. And my drum carder can only fit about 60 grams of fibre on it, which is like 2 ounces. So I normally either do like 30 grams, 45 grams or 60 grams. This way, like before I start blending it, I know I've got a certain amount of fibre. Okay, so this first bat you see me weighing up here is using some leftovers from one of my uni projects, and I try and split the fibres as equally as possible and just weigh that up, and then I'm just filling it up with some more roving of the same colour, and then I'm adding in some eucalyptus crimp. This is some silk merino blend that I had left over, some of that trilobal nylon from Raya. Basically I'm just topping it up with the sparkly fibres, that's some recycled sari silk there as well, and then I'm also putting in some bamboo that I dyed. So I just use the leftovers as the base, and then I just top it up with extra fibres, so that's that one. Yay! Okay, and this next bat here is the pink and green star of the show. This is pink moss variation. So pink moss is a bat that I've produced twice now, 2 variations of it, and this is the third. This is toxic pink moss. So I've got lots of lovely shiny fibres in there, some really neon fibres as well. So I weighed out all the special add-ins and then I just topped it up with roving so that it was a nice amount for the bat. And then this one here, this is a unicorn poop, so going with the unicorn theme I spoke about earlier, just putting out all the fibres, the sparklies, the roving, just laying it all out so I can visualise the colours. I'm also splitting up the fibres that I get out into 2 so that I can make 2 packs of each of some of these. Yeah, I just start off with the sparklies and the add-ins, and then I did a lot of silk with this one as well. and then, like the previous one, I just topped it up with rovings until it was a nice amount of fibre. Then I also had some pastel locks that I weighed out to put with each of these batts. I also did the same thing with some of the naturally dyed fibres. This is some silk that I dyed with Brazil wood, so it's a lovely soft pink colour, and I decided to go for a pink, grey and like a mauvey colour for that one. Same process. And as you can see, I'm building up a little collection of fibres ready to blend. The first step for me is always to separate the sparklies and add-ins and to split my roving into smaller, more manageable pieces. I then start off by adding thin layers of roving onto the drum carder, just trying to get as even of a coverage as possible. I then start layering on the special fibres, so silk, noil and bamboo here for example, and I basically just go back and forth layering roving and then the special fibres. And I always save more of the special fibres until the top, just so that they're in a much higher concentration. I quite often have to use my little brush to pick up the extra bits of the special fibres, especially if they're shorter fibres. I always try and make sure I get as much of the stuff that I weighed out onto the carder as possible, just so that the batts are super nice and full of yummy scrummy fibres. Hello there, it is a rainy day today and it's going to be a little dye day. I've got some acid dyes left over from like January time when I dyed these fibres and yarns for one of my uni projects, and I kept the dye liquid because I hadn't exhausted the dye baths because I didn't quite get my ratios right, so I want to exhaust dye them today. I've got lots of greens, but I also want to try and do some yellow and pink. I've got loads of fibres, a couple of yarns that I'm gonna dye, and we're just gonna have a little colourful little day to bring me a bit of joy because it's a bit wet and sad outside. I just want to talk you through some of the stuff I've been working on. So I started this video making batts for you guys. I've weighed out lots of different colourways and I've carded about half of them now. I did a dye day and I've been making some fibre packs and little blending kits using some of those fibres. I'm not making a full video on that just because I didn't film enough content for it and it wasn't very interesting. It's just acid dyes. So I naturally dyed a lot of fibres recently, and I've been prepping some batts to keep for myself. So this spin that I finished on my Turkish drop spindle from my art trade that I did with Rowan sort of inspired what will probably be quite a long project. So I'm gonna make, I know I want to knit my first ever knit garment. I want to make a knit cardigan using handspun yarn. A little bit ambitious, but hey ho. So I've already spun up another yarn which is very similar vibe, which had naturally dyed fibres as the base for it. So my main idea was that each of the yarns would have some naturally dyed fibres in it. I have spun these on my Turkish drop spindle. I'm not sure whether I'm going to spin the whole cardigan's worth of yarn on my drop spindle, but I'll get a more consistent yarn weight, like a DK weight, if I spin them on my drop spindle, so I'm not sure about that yet. I've started another spin on my spindle. So this was a batt that I had prepared in December, I think, using naturally dyed merino, which was dyed with beetroot, and then also some silk that I dyed with beetroot. It's also got some recycled sari silk in it, so this is super silky and soft. It's got this sort of like tweed effect to it. I am playing with a cat because I'm looking after a kitten right now and it keeps interrupting me, so I'm just like holding the toy while I talk to you. So that's what I've been spinning. Like I said, I've got a few more fibre packs weighed out using some of my naturally dyed silks and a little bit of naturally dyed alpaca and Devon wool that I will be blending specifically to spin myself for a cardigan that I'll hopefully make at some point. Okay, so the other thing that I started making is these little bug sprite guys. I will put the pattern and the creator's name on the screen and in the description for you guys. This is the first one I've been working on. I reinforced its body because I'll insert a clip of it. It was super floppy. I did not put the wireframe in properly, how I should have at the start, but I fixed it now. The hair is done. I'm very happy with how it's turning out. So I've also got some little wings that I still need to attach to this, but I'm not going to sew them up directly on there because that's what the pattern calls for. I think I'm going to try and work out a way so that they can like come on and off, because I also want to make some little clothes for it because I thought that would be super cute. So yeah, that's how the first one's going. Okay, so I have actually started a second little sprite guy. This yarn is some of the leftover mercerized cotton that I dyed in my last natural dye vlog, and it was all I had left. It was only enough for like up to here, so the top of the head is a slightly different yarn. This is what I'm working on at the moment. As you can see, it's very bold still, so that's what I'm going to work on this week. Make some wings for this, finish the hair, and yeah, they're so cute. I'm actually so happy with these. I bought another pattern by the same creator for like a little miniature version, and it has like a cute mushroom hat. So I think I'm going to try and make a few of those to sell to you guys in my next shop update. So yeah, that's all I'm working on this week really, is just finishing that second guide, maybe try and work out how to make some clothes, and then just working on that spin. It's been a few days since I filmed anything for this video, so I just wanted to update you guys on the progress I've made on the little bug sprites and everything else that we sort of talked about in this video. So I finished the body and the hair on both the bug sprites. I'll put some little clips and photos of them on the screen for you now. I'm not sure whether I'm going to bother making clothes for them anymore. I kind of just want this little project to be done. I want to get started on making the second pattern that I talked about, just so I can sell some of those to you guys, because the two that I've made, one's for me and I'm going to give one of them to my friend. So yeah, I've made wings for one of them, so I think I'm just going to make the wings for the second one and then call it quits and we can start something else. Okay, so when I was doing the fibre prep and making the bats right at the start of the video, I talked about making some like unicorn themed bats. The only thing that I did was 2 unicorn poop idea bats, but I want to make a whole separate video doing unicorn themed bats because I actually found some like My Little Pony toys that I had from like 2006. So I want to make bats and then maybe some yarn inspired specifically by the toys that I have. So I'll be making a whole separate video on that. Let me know in the comments what your favorite thing that I did in this video, whether it was some of the bats, the acid dyes, fibre packs that I've made, bug sprites, and yeah, just let me know what you liked about this video. If you haven't already, check out my natural dye series. I'll put the link in the description for you guys. I'll also put the link to my Ko-fi shop and my Instagram page, so go and check me out on there if you're not already following me. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one.